Hey, it's Sarah Spain. Excited to talk to Jessica Holtz, co-head of basketball for CAA Sports. CAA Sports represents over 2,000 of the world's best athletes, and Jessica herself represents a handful of the world's best basketball players, including names like Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns, and Elena Delle Donne. So excited to have you here to talk, Jessica. How are you today? In a hotel as always, I'm sure, traveling for your clients.
In a hotel as always. Thank you for having me, Sarah, ESPN Gatorade. I'm super excited to be here today.
Let's talk about when your love affair with sports came to be. Back in the day, your parents and also your own activity in sports.
Yeah, I grew up the oldest of three girls, and so my father is a diehard New York sports fan. Knicks, Jets, Mets, Rangers. We would watch everything with him growing up. So I really became a fan of watching professional sports. But I also played youth sports myself, pretty much well rounded until eighth grade when I realized that I wasn't going to have a long career in a lot of sports. So I stuck with tennis through high school, and then I just became a fan.
You knew pretty early on that you wanted to turn it into a career. I think a lot of folks don't understand that that playing career can be the end of one part of your sports journey, but you can start a whole nother one. Now, that started with you wanting to do my job, which I'm glad you didn't because you'd be stealing it from me today, I'm sure. You wanted to be a sports reporter. You had a stint in the NBA league office as an intern and then on the player marketing side. What did you learn from some of those early experiences?
Yeah, I hear from a lot of young students and people coming up that they know for sure they want to be an agent, and I think that's so cool to be so sure what you want to do. And like I said, I was so sure I wanted to be in your shoes, Sarah. But I think being closed off sometimes isn't necessarily always a good thing, and I say that to mean you can be really goal oriented and you can want know what you want to do, but don't close off yourself to opportunities when they present themselves. And so again, I thought agents were in Jerry Maguire and fictional. I didn't ever met an agent before I started working at the NBA. And so my job at the NBA league office was to be a liaison to all the agents and their clients. And so I got to understand what that job was. And I thought it was something that was really entrepreneurial, really exciting. Again, talent adjacent, just like my job at the NBA was. But I thought to myself, that job is something I could really dig in on with clients.
Well, let's talk about the exciting part. What's the best part of your job? Sell me on being an agent.
Tell you on being an agent, it is so fun, man, Sarah. It is so much fun to be with somebody and like hear them talk about all these things that they want to do and then see them actually do it. It is so crazy. And in particular, I've been with D'Angelo Russell and Devin Booker and Karl Towns for their entire careers. Since they were rookies, since they were in college. I met them right after college when they declared for the draft. And so hearing them talk about, maybe one day signing a supermax, becoming all-star, hitting game-winning shots, all that stuff forever, and then actually seeing them do it. Oh my gosh, there's no better feeling. I mean, I think all the parents listening could probably relate because you have that with your kids in some ways, but it really is amazing to know that you have some kind of small part in support in accomplishing something. And that could be on the court and that could be off the court too, right? Hey, I have this great idea. I want to collaborate with this brand. And it starts with a phone call and it starts with a meeting. And then the next thing you know, it's in a national TV commercial. I mean, how cool is that? You get to help be part of somebody accomplishing their dreams.
Entertainment has sort of given us this picture of agents between Jerry Maguire and Entourage. It's just a lot of dinners out and a lot of heated phone calls. And I'm sure that that is a whole lot of your job. But what are some of the other skills that you're actually using on a day-to-day basis to thrive and to serve your clients?
There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that you don't know about. Supporting a client when they're going through a rough situation. Whether it's someone passing. When Karl Anthony Towns' mom passed from COVID, that was something I lived with him and supporting him because that he's a person. He's not just a basketball player. And so my job was not just to, make sure that his contract's right and his marketing deals are right, but how do I 360 make sure that, he has all the support he needs in a difficult time?
I'm thinking of all the success that you've had and all of the people that probably played a role in teaching you how to be a great agent, in thriving and succeeding with your clients. And it brings up mentors. And when I was young and growing up, people always said, you got to find a mentor. Mentors are the key. And I was like, well, where are they and how do I find them and how do I approach them? So what's your take on that kind of mentorship angle of finding a career and thriving?
That's such a great thing to bring up, Sarah, because I think it's more seek out mentorship, right? Somebody doesn't have to sign a piece of paper and say, yes, Sarah, I am your mentor. But where are people guiding you? Where are you building authentic relationships with people that they're giving so much to you and caring about you and your career, but you're giving something to them too, right? Mentorship is a two-way street. So, unfortunately, I've gotten phone calls before where somebody calls me and says, "Wow, you're amazing. Can you be my mentor?" It's like, well, we don't know each other well enough for me to be invested in you in a way that I feel responsible for that. So let's take a step back and just build and think about ways that we can connect and help each other, because ultimately that's what real mentorship is, right? Do it through good work and through connections that you make and through really helping each other. Somebody's going to become invested in you.
I feel like there are so many more women agents now, but it's still a pretty male-dominated field. And I wonder what some of the benefits and also maybe drawbacks are of being a woman in your job.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we're having this conversation right now, right? And coming up most of my time as my career as an agent and a young executive, we weren't even talking about this. It was just something that we kind of struggled in silence about. And so I love that we're talking about it now, and I love that we're acknowledging it. But sometimes, you know, tone is something that's had been brought to me my entire career, and it's something I'm so cognizant of. If a man says something in a certain way, it's assertive. If a woman says something in a certain way, it has tone. So that's something I'm continuously cognizant of, even with all the experience I have. And sometimes you have to fight back of the perception of what you're going to be before you get in the room, and prove them wrong. And sometimes it's really fun to prove people wrong. It's wow, you're really smart. Yeah, that's why I'm here. So it's almost great to see the look on people's faces when you prove them wrong, because they might think that you're not at the high level you are because women aren't traditionally seen in that role.
Mhm.
And so sometimes the qualities that people think about women, we're sensitive. That's a really good thing, especially when you're so busy and you're a professional athlete and you don't want to always have to spell out your wants and needs. But I think listening and having emotional intelligence and things that are traditionally almost considered too soft skills for an agent, those are things I really lean into. I think that those skills traditionally viewed that might make us in a perceived way a little bit lesser than, or something I constantly use to my advantage because it's a point of differentiation.
Yeah, such great advice. And I'll tell you, as athletes, we all know about the failures, the mistakes, the trip ups, the losses, how to learn from them and how to keep it moving. And I know you do as well. Thank you so much, Jessica, for giving us some time.
Thank you. I really enjoyed our conversation. Appreciate it.